It's about that time in the year. Another NBA season has come to a close, and I'm going to be answering the question that every single NBA fan wants to know. Who are the best players in the league? So today, as you saw in the title, we're going to be ranking the top 50 players in basketball. Okay, before all this starts, there's a little bit of criteria you have to go over. So the first thing is that I will not include Klay Thompson, purely because I don't know how to rank him since he hasn't played in 2 years. Also, I will be taking in injuries to account. So a guy like Anthony Davis, for example, will be rated lower purely because he gets injured a lot. So for like these early players, you probably shouldn't be focusing as much on individual ranking because they're kind of interchangeable, and each of them are going to be in set tiers, so each player in each tier should be relatively close. I mean, if one player's at like, suppose they're at 37 and the other guy's at 38, but it's two different tiers, just trust me, they're actually pretty close, okay? And now let's get into the video. So starting with tier 6, coming in at number 50, we have Andrew Wiggins, 49, Gordon Hayward, 48, Michael Porter Jr., 47, Clint Capella, 46, Malcolm Brogdon, 45, Tobias Harris, 44, Draymond Green, 43, Mike Conley, 42, Nikola Vucevic, and 41, DeAndre Ayton. So looking at this first 10, there's honestly nothing that really shows out, I don't think, at least. Maybe you think Draymond's a little bit too low, he should be moved up, or Vucevic's a little low, or Ayton, or any of these guys, but it's not like anything kind of big, in my opinion. So coming into tier 5, at 40 we have Kyle Lowry, 39 Jamal Murray, 38 Pascal Siakam, 37 DeMar DeRozan, 36 Domantas Sabonis, 35 Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 34 Russell Westbrook, 33 Brandon Ingram, 32 De'Aaron Fox, 31 Drew Holiday, and 30 John Morant. So now looking at this, the first obvious ones I think I'm going to have to point out are Russell Westbrook at 34 and how De'Aaron Fox is higher than. So when we're talking about Russell Westbrook, he's always known as the triple-double king. I mean, even this season, he averaged a triple-double. But one thing I don't think everyone is noticing about him is he does not win basketball. And to me, winning basketball is the number one thing. If you don't do it, you're not that good at basketball. 2018 and 2019, he had Paul George on his team, and yet they lost in the first round both years and finished the 6 and 4 seeds. That's terrible. And in the 2018-19 season, Paul George had an MVP caliber season, yet they still finished 6th in the West. That's pretty terrible. Then he goes to the Houston Rockets, and they become worse than they were last year with Chris Paul, with an injured Chris Paul, actually. That's also pretty bad. They get second round. And then he goes to Washington, in which, to me, I predicted the Wizards to go in the 3 or 4 seed, and guess what? They go all the way down to the 8th. It's actually really bad. This guy does not win basketball at all. And to me, if you're not winning basketball, you can't be rated that high. So another thing I have here is how I put De'Aaron Fox at 32. Some of you guys might say that's a little bit high for Fox, but to me, I think that's perfect. He averaged 25 points a game this season and 8 assists. That's quite good. I think that's easily worth the spot I gave him. Another thing is how I put John Morant at 30. To some of you guys, that's too low, and to some of you guys, that's way too high. With John Morant, I feel like everyone either overrates or underrates. To me, I think 30 is the perfect spot for Ja. So now, coming into tier 4, at 29, we have Jaylen Brown, 28, Ben Simmons, 27, Rudy Gobert, 26, Julius Randle, 25, Bam Adebayo, 24, Zach LaVine, 23, Chris Middleton, 22, Bradley Beal, 21, Karl Anthony Towns. Hold on. Before you go to the comment sections and type in, Ben Simmons is barely a top 50 player, nonetheless 28. Just let me explain. Regardless of Ben Simmons' shooting struggles from the three-point line, mid-range, and free throw, and even his refusal to shoot the basketball, he still does do things great. He's a great passer. Although he passes a little bit too much, he still finds the right players and is able to bullet pass. And he's also an absolutely amazing defender. This season, he finished second in Defensive Player of the Year, and there's a good case he was the best defender in basketball. He's an amazing perimeter defender, while being 6'11" with a 7'2" wingspan, and being as fast, maybe a tiny bit slower, than 6'2" guard. That is allowing him to guard guys like Trae Young, while giving them a foot of space because he has so much length over him. And even though I know he shot like 35% from the free throw line, he still does a lot very well. So the next thing is how I put Julius Randle at 26, because I've looked at a lot of lists and most of them have him at that 35 to 40 range. To me, Julius Randle is still elite, regardless of his one bad playoff series. In the regular season, he averaged 24, 10, and 6, while leading his Knicks who were supposed to be the worst team in the league, to the 4th seed in the East. Should tell you enough that this guy is a top 30 player in the league. While going along, he made an All-NBA team and was an All-Star. Julius Randle, I think, is the 26th best player in basketball. And the final thing for, this tier is why I put Karl Anthony Towns at 21. Karl Anthony Towns recently has went so under the radar. I think we're all forgetting Karl Anthony Towns is the greatest big man three-point shooter we've ever seen. This man still averages 25 points, 11 rebounds, 4.5 assists on 48.6% from the field and 38.7% from three. To me, this guy is the consensus third best center in the league, and anyone saying else is just wrong. Karl Anthony Towns, the 21st best player in basketball. So now coming into tier 3, at 20 we have Chris Paul, 19 Trae Young, 18 Devin Booker, 17 Jimmy Butler, 16 Donovan Mitchell, 15 Zion Williamson, 14 Jason Tatum, and 13 Kyrie Irving. So immediately, the first thing you're going to see is how I put Booker at 18 and Mitchell at 16. This is not that big. I just think Mitchell is slightly better, and that's why he's 2 spots above Booker. Another thing, if you keep on going to the far left, is that you see Kyrie Irving at 13. Kyrie Irving, to me, has went really underrated. I would even go so far that you could put him at 12 if you want. Kyrie Irving this season averaged 27 points, 5 rebounds, 6 assists, while joining the 50, 40, 90 club. This guy, he's elite. He's elite. I'm telling you, he's elite. I truly do think he's better than guys like Booker, Mitchell, Tatum, Butler. I think he's not that 17 where most people are putting him at. So yeah, I think Kyrie Irving is the 13th best player in basketball. So now in tier 2. Okay, hold on. I know you're in the comment sections typing out right now. How did you put Zion Williamson over Chris Paul, Trae Young, Devin Booker, Donovan Mitchell, and Jimmy Butler? Well, let me explain. Zion Williamson this year was nothing short of phenomenal. He averaged a whole 27 points, 7 boards, and 4 assists on 61% from the field. That is ridiculous. He's the only reason the Pelicans are somewhat decent, and this guy also has terrible spacing to go along with it. Zion Williamson is amazing. But again, he sucks on defense, and he doesn't really facilitate for his teammates. So he definitely has his flaws. So if you're just looking at his stats playing, he is not the 15th best player in the league. He's more like the 20th or the 18th, something around there. But if you take a little bit of a deeper look at his game logs, and look at his stats post All-Star break, he averaged a whole 29 points, 7.5 boards, 4 assists on 61% shooting, and only 33 minutes a game. This guy is scoring the ball amazingly, and I think this puts Zion at 15. He's just getting better still. This is coming after that season, not coming into the season. So to me, he might even be even higher if I'm counting coming into the season, because he's improving over the summer. So yeah, after what he did post All-Star break, he is the 15th best player in basketball. And coming into next year, I think at the beginning of the year, he's going to come in around that 10 range. And by the end of the year, I could easily see him being like top 8, top 5, something around there. Zion Williamson is a generational talent, and he's already amazing just at 21 years old. So now, finally coming into tier 2. At 12, we have Paul George, 11, Anthony Davis, 10, Damian Lillard, 9, Joel Embiid, 8, James Harden, 7, Nikola Jokic, and 6, LeBron James. So I'm not going to try to explain everything, because I know most of you guys are going to look for more the tier list and not how I'm going to explain this. So for guys like Paul George, Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid, James Harden, Nikola Jokic, I'm not going to explain their placement, just because, first of all, I don't want this video to be too long, and second, I know you're basically looking at the tier list. If this video does do really well, I may make a part 2 answering all your comments. But anyway, you're probably wondering why I put Anthony Davis and LeBron James so low. Like I said in the intro, Anthony Davis is an extremely injury-prone player, and I am taking that into account. Anthony Davis played half of the games this year. Half. And he also got injured in the playoffs. To me, that drops his rating a lot. Like last year, I know a lot of people had him as the second best player in basketball, and I think he has that talent to be the second best player in basketball. If it wasn't for injuries, he'd probably be in my top 5. But due to them, I think putting him at 11 is the right spot for him. And the other thing is LeBron James at 6, outside of tier 1. LeBron has fallen a lot to me this season. This season, LeBron was also injured a lot. And, I mean, his stats are good. Don't get me wrong. I mean, he did average 25 points, 7.5 rebounds, 7.5 assists on 51% shooting. But he kind of played awful in the playoffs. Looking at his playoff stats, he averaged 23 points, 7 boards, 8 assists on 47.4% from the field and 37.5% from 3. I mean, that's pretty bad, especially for a guy that's supposed to always step up in the playoffs. He wasn't the best player in the regular season. In the playoffs, he was not even a top 10 player in the playoffs. So to me, that does drop his ranking. So obviously, there is a chance that LeBron James completely bounces back and has another phenomenal season. But let's face it, the guy is aging. He's 36 years old. I don't know how much left he has, and I wouldn't be surprised if he drops out of the top 10 next year due to injuries and for the fact he just won't be as good. So now coming into tier 1, the best of the best. At 5, Luka Doncic. 4, Stephen Curry. 3, Kawhi Leonard. 2, Kevin Durant. And 1, Giannis Antetokounmpo. So this top 5 for me was so hard. I mean, 1 and 2 I feel like are Giannis and Kevin Durant. They're interchangeable in my opinion. I think Giannis is slightly better due to the fact he was amazing in the regular season and amazing in the playoffs, though Kevin Durant was also. It doesn't matter, honestly. You put them at 1 and 2. But after that, 3, 4, 5, and even 6 with LeBron, they're so hard for me to rank. Originally, I had Curry 3, LeBron 4, Kawhi 5, and Luka 6. But, I mean, I was going over stats, and Kawhi in the playoffs was really good. Kawhi always stepped up when they needed it. Kawhi Leonard is just always amazing in the playoffs. Also, I know he got injured, so if it was coming into next season, he probably would be a little bit lower. But since it's coming out of this season, Kawhi Leonard is the 3rd best player in basketball. So then I have Curry at 4. I know a lot of people have Curry at 3 or 2 or even 1. But I think purely because the Warriors didn't make the playoffs, that should drop Curry's rankings a little bit. And compared to 3 guys that succeeded in the playoffs so much, I think Curry is the 4th best player in ball. He put up 32 points a game this season. He was absolutely stunning. And I mean, he's Stephen Curry. He just does his thing. He's amazing at basketball. So that's why he comes at 4. And 5 for me is Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic to me has went so underrated recently. From being the best player in the world after the Clippers series to not even being top 8. Like, what happened? What happened to that energy of Luka Doncic is the best player in the world? Luka didn't just have a ton of bad games. No, he stopped playing because they got eliminated. But they got eliminated to a really good team. The Clippers with Kawhi and Paul George. So I can't blame him on that. And in the series, he averaged 36 points and 10 assists. Like, you can't do better than that. And I think Luka is the 5th best player in basketball. So that's really it. Here's my complete list. If you want to post it on Twitter or Instagram, here's the 1080 by 1920. If this video does do really well, I will make a part 2 answering all your comments. Goodbye and see you next time.